that way, but like I feel like deep down everybody actually wants to hear, I don't know, like Mary Poppins. And so I just Mary Poppins it. Why not? Okay. Let me do my first. Okay. That being said, see if I can get this to work now. Now that I'm finally live. Fix all of it. Did you just My computer today has been tell me long enough for your microphone without telling me you don't have a long enough cord with your microphone. Because, yeah, so that was fun. I just undid my microphone like 12 times. That's okay. So, what's up? What's up? Okay, I'm aging myself. So I wanted to go through organizing your work week. Why? Because it helps. I have done so many reviews. I have learned so many different things. And at the end of the day, organizing your work week, I mean, not your work week. Your week is important because it keeps you sane. It keeps me sane. It keeps many people sane. And why does that matter with the reviews? Well, at the end of the day, I've done reviews on a bunch of the tools that actually help you do that. But how do you put it all together? And so I kind of came up with this little thing, little shish kebab. I'm also trying to put, you probably can't see it. Maybe you can. My phone to go live on TikTok at the same time. Why? Because certain streaming places are like, you need a stream key. And I'm like, well, I have Streamlabs. What? Just saying. So, let's go live on all places. Okay. All right, I did it on all of them. Okay, so here we go. So how do you organize your week? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to also use my phone here for a second. I'm sorry, I'm being bad. Beep. Just go a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, so how do you organize your week? Well, first and foremost, most of us don't want to, right? And I get that. I completely understand that because immediately this sounds like a chore. Like, educational purposes, how do you organize your work week? What are you going to do with your life? Well, look, it's not like that. This is more like you already know about these things, but hey, this may actually help you even more and you'll just feel better. That's it. That's it. I'll prove it to you. Okay, so today, most of us, how do we organize our work weeks? I keep saying work week because it probably works on my brain, but I mean week. So how do most of us organize our week? Well, we spend a million years planning. I know that for me, this is a big one, to-do lists. I mean, a million of them. And I've bought like books and stuff to list after, or item after item after item after item on these lists. And then it's just this thing that's staring at me, telling me all the things that I haven't done. And so then I feel like I'm a fraud because I didn't get everything done. And I know I need to get a lot of stuff done. So it's that perpetual cycle of insanity, I guess. It really is. It's a perpetual cycle of insanity. On top of, now you have, people who think you're unreliable and you're like, yeah, but I bought a million notebooks and apps and stuff just to get me organized, to keep me going. But there's so much going on in life. So we're all, in that type of a situation of like trying to figure it out. But come on, it's 2024. We've got technology now. We don't need to like rely on everyone else and everything else. I guess actually we should be relying on everything else to help us succeed. So, what are those things? Let's talk some strategies. What are those strategies? Okay. Well, I like the little arrow. It goes down. I thought it was cool. You like it too. And don't forget to like and, let me know anything you'd like to let me know in all of this. Because I'll go back. I specifically said right here, what is your favorite way to get productive? I would love to know what other people do to be productive, actually, as I'm trying to, I'm sorry, my phone's being stupid. As I'm trying to tell you how to be productive. What are the strategies? Strategy number 1, setting clear goals. I know. For those who believe in manifestation, same. It's kind of how that works. If you believe in setting good goals in general, same. It's all about being clear, is really what it boils down to. It's all about being clear. To yourself. It's like, you're trying to, how do I put this? You're trying to make yourself silence is wonderful when you're live. You're trying to make yourself be able to achieve a goal. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, how are you going to be a millionaire if you're just like, my goal is to be a millionaire? Well, how are you going to get there? How does that work? You can't just become a millionaire. I mean, that's not true. You could become a millionaire by, winning the lottery. That's entirely possible. So technically, if you want to be a millionaire, go play the lottery. But even in that, I mean, some of us would want to figure out how to win the lottery because there's actual math behind it. I learned all about it in statistics and made me never want to play the game again because of how unlikely it is to win. Although I will say, and just like the teacher said at the time, somebody's got to win it. Somebody is going to win it. And it should, I mean, even if the odds are against you, why not? Just do it. Go play. I don't play all the time, but I do play occasionally. Why not? I kind of just told you all the reasons why not to, but you still need to set a clear goal on how to do that. So how would you do that? Okay. I put tools. Trello, Asana, ClickUp, Monday. The reason I put those tools is because these are the tools that allow you to basically organize that so that you can have your goals broken down and set up in the way that works best for you. And I used multiples. I do not know why this thing just continued. Let me just take this off. Okay. I used multiple. I just dropped my microphone. Today. Okay, I use multiples of these tools because so you can see my phone and what's going on and why I keep not talking. It just keeps asking me to I'm so done with the talks of ticks. There's
plenty of money. Nothing has gone wrong.
You see what I'm saying? It's telling you there's plenty. You might as well do it. Okay. Anyways, a lot of different tools because there's a lot of different ways that you can set it up for yourself. For example, ClickUp is really great if you like to have things like what are those called? Lists, but also organized for you in a calendar setting and also free. Monday.com is really great if you're more interested in having something that will allow you to utilize some AI aspects, but it's extremely user friendly. I think that's one of the biggest things with Monday. It's so user friendly. Whereas ClickUp is not as user friendly, but once you figure it out, it does so much. Asana is fantastic if you like things more in a project or visual mindset. Trello, kind of the same thing. It's very similar to Asana in that sense. So it just depends on what you like, and you can put those different aspects of setting those goals that way. And then it brings me into prioritizing tasks, because everybody always talks about how urgent everything is. Well, it's not. I mean, even at work, they say, right then and there, I need this. Do you though? Do you? Because after I give it to you, you're just going to go to lunch. You may not even send the item over to the next person, or, you know, confirm with an email that you received something. You're going to say absolutely nothing, because to you it was urgent just to know that you have it, or just put it in your pocket. That's how a lot of things feel. Urgency, true urgency, means if you don't have it right here, right now, that's going to be a problem for you, to the point that you will not be able to continue moving forward. That's urgent. Something like you're starving and you need food, and all you can think about is food, it's kind of urgent. You need food. And yet, even in that, we don't prioritize those tasks. We prioritize, getting the kids ready for school, going into work, maybe having that extra cup of coffee, but not sitting down and eating a meal, even though your body is begging for a meal. And there's ways to do that. Prioritizing your tasks, I wouldn't say number one is eating a meal, but it also depends on what's going on in your life. If you find that you're not eating breakfast every morning and you want to start prioritizing eating breakfast every morning, then you know what? That should be your number one. And for you, that is urgent. At the end of the day, though, I would say you take all the things you have to get done, write it down, put it in Microsoft To Do, ClickUp, Todoist. I do have videos on all of these things. Check out YouTube, Bear Life, to find out about Todoist and ClickUp specifically, and more is coming, to see if those work for you. But spell it all out. And then from there, take your top 3 and say, number 1, you gotta do it. Number 2, you'd love to do it. Number 3, if all else goes wonderfully, make that your number 1 for the next week. That's what I said. Then from there, just focus on number 1 and getting that done for the week. For the week. Next week, do the next thing. It sounds insane. It seems like you're not going to get a lot done, but you're actually going to get more done that way than you probably ever have in the past. Because you're not making everything a huge burden in your life. You're making it doable. And if it affects other people as you're doing it, well, then just let them know that you're also taking into consideration your mental health. Because at the end of the day, if you're stretching yourself thin to try and get everything done, that doesn't benefit anybody. They say it all the time. If you don't have a full cup, you can't keep pouring into others. But if you're constantly living as a full cup, you can pour the overflow for others. Prioritizing tasks allows you to do that. After that, though, time blocking. Okay, so time blocking is pretty interesting, because when it comes down to time blocking, we think about just like, okay, we're going to take lunch hour from this time to this time. That's kind of it. But in reality, it would benefit a lot of people to get very used to doing certain habits or having better routines by time blocking their lives, but also to get themselves out of both monotony. I know that sounds weird, and I'll get into why, and also getting you out of getting stuck in one spot. So, okay, if I go back, which I'm not going to go back on here, but I am going to say, so if I were to say I'm in a perpetual state of planning, how do I get out of a perpetual state of planning? I can time block the time frame that I plan. And that's it. Once I'm done with that time frame, I'm done planning. That's it. If it's not done, I have to wait for the next time block to plan because I have other items that I need to get done. How do you do that? Well, you can use very simple tools like Google Calendar. You can use your own brain and literally time block your life. It's not complicated. You just set the events, put it in Google Calendar. You can even tell it to repeat. You have that. It's not monotonous. Why? Because you're constantly going into the next thing as soon as you're done with that task. So your life isn't monotonous because you actually have your life put in a... it could be something different every single day. You can actually see what your life is like every single day, and you can make it not monotonous. You can say like, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to eat breakfast at 9 o'clock. On Tuesdays, I'm going to eat breakfast at 8 o'clock. On Wednesdays, I'm going to eat breakfast at 10 o'clock. That's not monotony. You're going to eat breakfast anyways. You can set that time frame, but you can also make it work for you because you know that on Wednesdays, you typically have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because you need to go into the office earlier and you still need to drop off your kids to school, or you have those meetings that you typically have with your client on Thursdays. Doesn't matter what the case is, but you can make it work for you, and then it'll stop being monotonous. You know what that day is, and you kind of know what's going to happen, but it may not be like the day before because you set that. So that could be Google Calendar, or you can use other tools like Clockwise or Reclaim AI. So there's AI out there that is allowing people to use and setting those time blocks based off of what it sees that you do. So you're kind of working with a computer or with AI and letting it know what your day is like, and then it's helping you set those time frames. Like it notices that you seem to stop for lunch every day at 11 o'clock. So it starts saying, well, hey, you actually like to eat at 11. Just go ahead and put that lunch break all across the board. But you also know that on Thursdays, you have that client meeting. So you can say, well, we can't do that. And AI will then figure out the best time frame after that to make it work for you. So those are great tools if you want to use something to help you figure that out. But time blocking will help you not stay in a perpetual cycle of anything. Not emails, not anything. And yet you'll get more done. Because you know that you only have that time to do it. You have to focus on it. So it's a great method to focus, learn to focus, get it done, but not obsess over it. Next one is delegation. I put it on here and I'm standing by it. No, you do not have to be the one to do it all. The only tool you need here is your voice. If you can't get something done, it's up to you to say, hey, neighbor, friend, family, I'm not able to do this. Can you help me out? If you're married, it's not help, it's responsibility. But sometimes it could be help. I mentioned the letter before. I think it's the easiest example in those situations is, actually, I have a real life example. There have been times that I have scheduled doctor's appointments for the kids. I, in the moment, was able to go to that doctor's appointment. Something else came up the day the doctor's appointment, or the day before the doctor's appointment. And I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to take the kids to the doctor's appointment and, be in a meeting at the, an hour before, but I still have to drive there and get the kids ready to go to this doctor's appointment. It started to get chaotic. So instead of trying to do it all, I walked over to my husband, I used my voice, and I said, hey, can you take the kids to the doctor's office? Do you have anything planned, even though I planned those dates, but they no longer work with me, and I found out that it didn't work with me? Obviously you want to say things to people as soon as you possibly can, but sometimes it's last minute. My life is often last minute. But I use my voice, and it works out. The kids don't miss their doctor's appointment. My husband took them a couple times, and a couple times I took them because it didn't work for him, even though he set the appointment. Kind of works out, but you use your voice and be assertive and make sure that you don't take it all on yourself. It sounds like not complicated, and it kind of isn't, but it kind of is too. And I get that. It's difficult. But while you're doing all these things and you're trying to figure out life and you're like, I'm going here and I'm doing this and it's all so crazy, you can also just have some self-care scheduled in there. Yeah. So when you're doing your time blocking, make sure you schedule self-care. It actually is important. I literally put on there non-negotiable. There's a reason for that. That's the first thing that most of us will go, well, I don't have time to read that book, so I will put that to the side and I will do all these other things for everybody else first. Kind of can't do that. You can't do that because if you're putting everybody else first, you burn out, which means you're never going to get through anything. You're always just going to burn out and then cry in a corner. I have done that. That was my life. That still is sometimes my life. But burnout is reality. So instead of not trying to burn out, but instead of burning out, you can change your life, feel better about your life by putting you as a top priority. Prioritize your tasks, but make sure that you're one of those tasks. So, I mean, have everything set. Don't put you as that on the list of priorities. It's an obvious situation, you're going to add yourself in all of that, no matter what, because you have to value yourself, period. So what I mean by that is you have a list of 10 tasks. You have to get those things done. You list your 10 tasks. You time block. You set clear goals. You do all of that. And then in there, you go, me time, this time to this time, me time, this time to this time, me time, this time to this. It is a guarantee you're going to add yourself because you matter. So that you have an overflow to pour into everyone else's cup. It's that simple. It's also not that simple, let's be honest. It's actually quite difficult because we don't want to value ourselves. But it has to be said, and that is why it's a strategy. Because sometimes everything else in your life is going, I don't want to say perfect, but I will say that a lot of times people are burning out because they are getting everything done, but they forgot about themselves. And that is a huge part of the puzzle. And I didn't want to put that as number one because I knew that most people would be like, okay, prioritize yourself. So I put it towards the end, just like most people do. You put yourself towards the end. But in reality, that should be almost number one. You should be number one, then you should be setting clear goals. Because why are you setting clear goals? So that you have a better life. It's for you anyways. Okay, so what's the last one? Oh, actually, before I get into the last one, tools to help you do that, which I have not gone through these tools. I haven't done reviews on those, but Calm, I have used the app. I do like it. It has a lot of different things in there. Maybe I'll do a review on that one day. But for now, I haven't used it enough to say that it's going to be best for everybody. But I do find that it is a great tool to at least get you started in doing things like meditation or just taking a minute. I do like one thing that Calm does is it'll say, okay, just take 5 minutes, not even, I think it even has like a 60-second break, 1 minute, where you just take a second and it just plays nice music and kind of just gets you refocused. But I do have a tool that I would absolutely love to review, and I just realized that right now. I need to add that to my schedule. That also does something very similar. I'm not going to say it's cheap, but it is technically cheaper than something like Calm because Calm is a subscription. So there's that. I've never used Headspace, but I've heard that it is something like Calm. And my favorite thing is just a book. I'm a book person. I like the rain and to pick up a book and read that and just relax. It's really great. Some people like to watch a movie. You could do that too. You just schedule that in. It could be a mani-pedi, for goodness sakes. Whatever you want to do. If you're I don't care. If you like a mani-pedi, wow. If you like to get your nails done, do that. Okay, so the last one I put in flexibility. Also because life happens. Very recently, I had somewhere to go that was pre-planned many months in advance. Right before the event happened, the house flooded. You heard that right. The house flooded. Not the entire house, but a large chunk of it. Water flowing inside of a house. So what does that mean? Obviously, I wasn't able to go to the event. Does that mean that I was, like, oh, hey, that's not a problem, or that people aren't mad at me? They may be. That's quite a possibility. But I was flexible enough in my life that I still made things work in other ways. And that's really important. I don't have to get everything done exactly the way that I list, exactly the way that it's on any of these tools. Because I put myself first, also I'm going to put that. This is a new one for me though too. And I'm prioritizing not burning out, but trying to still get things done, which also allows, or I should say, which also, allows me to put in the mindset that it is okay to be flexible on how it all happens. Obviously, there's going to be things that have to happen a very specific way. You have kids, you need to take them to school. They have to be at school at that time. They can't be consistently late. That makes sense. But there's going to be a morning here or there that it won't work out. So instead of saying, oh, you know what? This is just horrible and, it's the end of the world. What if the day that didn't work out, instead of everybody going off into their own things, you just took the day off of work, if that worked for you? If you can't take the day off of work and everything is going a little insane, you, instead of going directly and rushing and running, you already know you're going to be late. You call in ahead, you let the people know, take your 5 minutes, you get on calm, and instead of freaking out, now you find a way to calm down and you push everything that you had planned back by 5 minutes. That's being flexible. But it's also giving you back your sanity. So it doesn't have to be flexibility in a way that benefits literally everybody else. It could be also just bringing you back into Zen, that flexibility. It's accepting that life isn't perfect and it doesn't have to be. So one of the things you can do is actually plan contingency time spots. I did put that on there. What does that mean? It means that you kind of have everything planned for your week. You have your goals set. You've prioritized. You've got that one thing you actually have to get done, and you make sure that you get that done. You time block your life, whatever. You feel like it's not monotonous. You're happy. You've delegated. You've given yourself some self-care. But I did say, self-care is actually a good one to point out. So I did say to prioritize that and make sure you're putting it in there. But say you literally cannot make it happen in that moment. You were going to sit down and read that book, and your child came in and threw up everywhere because they're sick. Okay? Well, now's not the time for self-care. They kind of need you. And that's not really a choice. They need you. You're going to go. You need to go do that. Period. Has happened before. But that's okay. Because if you put in the contingency time slots where it doesn't mean that it's only about self-care, it could be that's when you're going to check your emails or whatever it is that you weren't able to do, you utilize that time slot that you have as a contingency. And when you come up to that time slot, this is my favorite thing. If you come up to that time slot and you were not able to do, everything was done perfectly. What do? Self-care. Do something for you because you're awesome and you made it happen and it worked out for you. And this is another good self-care moment. That's what I would do. But it's up to you. It's up to you on how you want to do things. So that is how you strategize organizing your life. Last little slide. Take the strategies that work for you, mix in your superpowers, and watch your week transform. What do I mean by superpowers? For those of you who happen to have, I love this one, have ADD, you guys have the ability to hyperfocus. That is a superpower. Now, while I did mention to time block, you can time block hyperfocusing. That is not an easy task. I'm not saying that that's going to work for everybody. It may work for some. It may not work for others because there's a little bit more involved in that. But if you use time blocking and you're able to get yourself out of the hyperfocus without being rageful, I watch my YouTube videos, it could benefit you because that, I mean, I will say this, one of the people that I know that have that, it is so their superpower because they come out of that being, my God, they could do anything. That's the best way of putting it. This person, if they wanted to be a doctor, I promise you they'd be able to do that in a heartbeat because they are so incredibly smart, but it has to be something that they're interested in, of course, because that's how IDD works. And it is just, it's fascinating. But they go in and they can just sit there and they just learn all these things and they just can do it. After a certain amount of time, they, kind of reminds me of Matilda, reading all these books and then she just knows. So that would be a superpower. So use it in your strategies. It's whatever it is that it's like, it may not work for everybody else, but it does work for you. Add that in there. Make it part of it. And at the end of the day, you're going to end up a happier person because you're not being so hard on yourself. You're not being so hard. Yes. So anyways, that was this week with GBR Life, organizing your work week. Next week, I'm going to be back. I'm on Wednesdays at, I was supposed to be on at 9:30, but technical glitches. But I'm glad I came on and I didn't give up with it because I love talking to everybody. It's a lot of fun. So next week is the 7th, and yes, I have a schedule. It helps me out a lot because I don't have to figure out life in the moment. I already know exactly what topic, and I try to make everything go along with it. But GBR Life is slowly coming back into fruition. It's not really into fruition, I should say, back into full mode. A lot of life has been going on over the past year. So next week, I'm going to talk about life hacks for entrepreneurs, but I'm also going to be adding in potentially automating workflows in ClickUp. If not, I want to do my video for GBR Life tutorials on that. That's on YouTube. But GBR Life has tutorials, insights, and reviews, and that's all YouTube. But then there's also the blog on gbrlife.com and the podcast, the next season of GBR Life of Crimes, specifically about women who commit those crimes, is coming up very soon. I'm very excited about that. So just, tune in, keep an eye out. There's so much coming, and I don't know, I'm just very excited about bringing that to everybody's plate. So come back. I will see you all next week, Wednesday. We're going to say 9:45 to 10 p.m. because I'll make it work. And that's it. See you all then. Good chatting.